Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. This is part two. If you need to listen to part 1A, it should already be out, have a similar background, and this King Slayer, quote unquote, it's, I used, I never explained why I used this image, but with a lot of men, especially Republican men. And if you're saying it's not you, I said a lot. I didn't say all, I said a lot of men who, if a woman doesn't desire them, if a woman doesn't act the way that they think she should act, because you really read his messages, it's pretty disgusting and demeaning. But he literally started off talking to me in such a disrespectful way. And he even admitted that, at first he was like, I've been nice, he was so rude and awful. And he literally blamed me for the messages. He blamed me for he blamed me, but then he was like, it's not your fault. But then he blamed me. And then he told me to act right. And since I am not acting right, I must be a man. And that's one thing that is like, the trans community already has enough issues, enough problems. And it's like, if someone doesn't either agree or act the way that someone expects them or tells them to act, you're automatically going to put that on somebody. And the stereotyping and even like, he told me to tell him where I am from, but he told me not to say the city that's in my profile. And part of me was just like, so okay, so you don't want me to answer the question? So then he kept being like, so yeah, because I didn't even put all of the messages. He wrote so much. And since I wasn't all, oh my gosh, you're a man, you're my Prince Charming, I'm going to be submissive, I'm going to obey, and I'm going to follow every single command that you say. And even though that I keep getting harassed on here because men kept telling me that I had no business getting in higher education, even though men told me that my only job in place is to have their babies, until I put up standards. And now they hate me and they troll me and they tell me that I need to go and eliminate myself. But you're blaming me when I have been tormented and harassed for years. Like, when I had to literally post that I have 3 degrees in my profile because men would tell me that it's like women are brainless. And it's like, well, it's kind of a long story, and I will detail it all in a probably 2 or 3 part dating nightmare episode. But it's just the day that he wrote me, because it was just a few months ago. I want to say it was like June or July. But I just remembering I was shocked because he's literally trying to insult my gender because I am not going to quote unquote act right. Because I think that was the funny part. He was like, well, you need to blah, 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 unless you act right. I see why you're single. I know why I'm single. It's because I'm not going to tolerate the toxic behavior of men like this. It's because I love higher education. I love learning new things. I love talking in deep conversation. And most men just want me to shut up, cook, clean, and do as they say. Those are the men I keep running into. And I kept noticing that's a lot of the Republican, like, Christian community. And I dated a mixture of atheist and Christian, but it's like I'm finding out that I need more of the spiritual Christian, someone who, yeah, they believe in a higher power, but at the same time, they're not going to be brainwashed by a lot of the stuff that coming from the money grubbing churches and stuff like that. Yeah, because I had a wake up call from it, and like I think I mentioned the other video in part 1A that I am now figuring out my place within religion because, yes, I do believe in a higher being, but at the same time, the garbage and the hateful mess that they promote within the Republican side, and how a lot of Republican men tell me I am not a Christian because I'm a Democrat, and how I'm stupid, or and the amount of Republican men that tell me that I should eliminate myself. They know that's a sin in the Bible, but they tell me to do that. They tell me that my place is in the kitchen or cooking or like I said, there's so much that I can go over with on this subject, and I'm probably going to bring up Kingslayer quite a few times because the conniving, awful, uneducated, small-mindedness from him. There's other words, but I'll keep that for a different day. It's just disgusting. And then men just feel like they can treat us like this. And then I show the men that treat me like this, but then the men blame me. The men treat me like the other men do because then they blame me for the treatment when they ridicule me for not having kids. But then when they talk about their baby mamas or women who have kids, they call them garden hoes. And I have higher education and have dreams and goals, and they hate that. But they say they want a dumb woman, but then they yell at the dumb woman, and then they say how dumb she is and how useless she is, but then they can't handle a smart woman. They can't handle someone who's independent and who wants to do on their own. They don't want that. Like, a lot of these men have no idea what they want because they want the benefits of both sides, and they don't realize how confusing that is for themselves. And I think they don't even know themselves in order to know what kind of woman they want. And so they get mad when a woman they don't even find attractive, a woman that they have nothing in common with, doesn't desire them because they feel like while they don't know themselves, they should have the option of any woman that they want, even though they're not compatible. That's what I have been witnessing with dating apps. And yes, I'm single. I'm probably going to stay single because one, my disability, and two, my independence and the goal, like, because even writing my books. But yeah, that's gonna be, yeah, I'm going a little long, but just now I have a lot to talk about. And as you guys know, I have so much evidence. I think I've shown you guys almost like, or in between 50 to 100 screenshots, and I have probably well, yeah, I won't say exactly how many, but I know it's like, this is only a fraction. But you guys have an amazing day, and thank you for listening to part 2. Like, comment, subscribe, please. And I'm going to have updates on my Patreon and my books, my business, and things coming up soon. Have a great day. Bye. It's sad, but they don't. And would I change it? No, because they've shown me who they really are. When I did, a lot of them I met through promotional modeling. And most of them I realized they only used me because since I was one of the older promotional models with a good driving record and everything, I was one of the only ones that could get the rental cars. And so everybody wanted to be my friend to be in my rental car. And because if they can get into the rental car, that means they could work the position too. And that means they could travel so that hopefully they can add that to their resume, blah, blah, blah. And then also with my vehicle, since I have my own car and everything, yeah, so. But then they would talk about me behind my back, wishing I would drop out of grad school, and that's the sad part. Like, a lot of them kept just pushing me down, wanting me to give up and quit and not accomplish anything. And it was my friend in the LGBTQ community who always encouraged and had my back, and just said, you can do this and you're doing amazing things. Don't quit and we'll figure this out. Or with my disability, he was like, no, we'll figure this out. And he believed me. He didn't second guess me. And I will always cherish that. And okay, some other thoughts I have is with shit, like a lot of people forget, or sometimes I wonder, how does the Christian community feel, or the MAGA Republicans, 45 lovers, whoever, how does that side feel about Shakespeare? Should we not teach about Shakespeare? Because back in those days, women were not allowed to be on stage. So that meant men dressed in drag. They don't talk about it like that, but, and like performing in drag, that didn't turn any of those kids back then gay. Didn't turn them into the LGBTQ. It didn't. So why do we fear that something's going to happen now when back in history it didn't do it then? Some people might say, well, that was because of the law. Okay. But the kids still saw it. So, and also, it's like part of me wonders, how did the wives feel about their husbands dressing as the female characters and then being on stage? And it's like, I don't know, it's like a lot of people keep judging and keep, like, especially if a man wears fingernail polish, they want to judge or say he's not an alpha male, he's not man enough, and everything like that. Okay, we have to remember that man created these dress codes because men used to wear heels. Well, we still got one in Florida that still wears heels. But anyway, it's like we created the dress codes, and the dress codes have changed over time. And so when people want to say what is manly and what's feminine and how we're supposed to dress, and oh, also if a woman wears too much or not enough, how that triggers a man, but then they don't talk about the man being able to control themselves, because a woman should be able to dress for themselves and be happy within the image that they want to create for themselves. But men, like, yeah, so that's a different story. But I don't like that, just gets on my nerves when men keep wanting to label women, and also men keep saying they only want to marry a virgin and everything like that, but then they want her to know every single thing in the bedroom. That's not how virgins work. Or they get upset if she doesn't know, like, see, like that. Yeah, I'm getting a little off topic, but it's just, these are the things that I think of when, but especially when it comes to, like, yeah, I already listed off Shakespeare, but also when I know that right before the Holocaust, scientists were doing experiments about sexuality, gender roles, or gender specifically, and what makes genders and sexuality and things like that. And while the right says there's only two genders, I think, like, especially after researching and reading and studying, I think it is a spectrum. I don't think it's just one or the other, because a lot of people forget that some people are born with both parts. Which bathroom do they go to? Some people are going to say whatever is on um, their birth certificate. Well, how come if one bathroom is out of service, but then they have both parts? Like, so if they have both, then maybe the men's room is out of service, They have more of a masculine look. I mean, they have the proper part, so why can't they go to the woman's bathroom? They have it. And then also, some women, it's like their estrogen isn't as high, so some of them end up growing hair on their chest and their face. So then they have more of a masculine look. Can they go into the man's bathroom? It's female on their birth certificate, but some of them have more of a manly look, a more masculine look. Are you gonna stop them? Because since there are different levels for masculine and feminine, like hormones, I do believe it's a spectrum. I don't think it's just one or the other. And then people should be able to decide what they wear. If you don't like it, don't wear it. It's like no one's forcing you to dress like them. No one's begging you to be in the LGBTQ community. But part of me just feels like there are some countries that are trying to outlaw and force people to all be the same, all be straight. I would never want to marry somebody because they were forced to have to marry, and someone who didn't genuinely love me. It's like they might love me as a friend, but not in a like a passion, like you are the love of my life type. And I don't know, it's like, that just makes me wonder why are we trying to force this onto people? And the Christian community is like, oh, that means they're going to hell if they're in the LGBTQ, or the Christian community is putting this on the LGBTQ community, that they're going to be going to hell. It's against the Bible. And but then one sin isn't over another. It's like, are we this hard on people who are alcoholics and or are hooked on special candy? Oh, like Mr. Lockakey. Oh, he in trouble with the and or just gluttony. Period. It's like with America overeating. Well, I have no idea what our cabinet's going to be doing with that, but then I've heard some things and I'm just like, uh-oh. But that means a lot of us are sinning. One sin is not over the other. So if we are overweight, if we are eating too much, drinking too much, consuming too much, buying too much, if we're buying too much from Amazon or any of those other, like, I try my best not to buy from Amazon. I've done a really good job. I think it's been about a year and a half or 2 years since I've last used them. And I know at one point I'm probably going to, but the way that the company is run, especially the way they're trying to fight unions and the way that, like, oh, and I just found out yesterday that a lot of them are planning on going on strike on Black Friday today. So, congratulations. I am so proud of you. Well, because, yeah, I have very strong opinions about Amazon, and I hate that my books are on. It's like, see, it's like trying to get my books on other platforms is going to take a lot of time, because years ago, for like, I kind of knew about Amazon, but I didn't know how bad. So before, I was like, yeah, let me try to keep my space from it. I already downloaded 6 of my books on there, but now that I'm trying to gain control with my not like with my first novel, there's like, I've been doing research and I already have another game plan, and I'm going to slowly start like getting my other books onto that game plan so that I can take them off of Amazon. And will that mean that I need to do a lot more advertising and marketing? Yes, yes, it does. Does it mean that I'm going to have a powerful, wonderful, and amazing website? Yes, yes, it does. And I am working on it like nobody's business. So at the end of the day, I I'm just trying to figure out what is the big deal because people keep trying to, well, people in DC are judgmental with this new congressperson that got voted in. And I applaud her. I am so proud of her. And they're scared for her to go to the bathroom. It's like that's a human necessity. And some people act like people become trans just so they can go and violate ladies, girls, women. Like that's not how it works. And that's another reason why I feel like people need to do their homework. They need to read, they need to study, they need to talk to and meet people within that demographic so maybe they can learn that they're hateful, bigoted, uneducated, cruel human beings. And you can be, you can turn that around. I mean, there's a small percentage of that happening, but you can turn that around. And I say there's a small chance of that happening because of the Christian community. Oh, there's so many more stories I have, like, because I'm going to do an episode soon about Wicked and how I was never allowed to read the book. I'm going to now, but I wasn't allowed to back when it was first written and published because of the church. And I feel like the church tries to put so much fear into people and they say the fear of God, but no. Mm. And part of me just feels like they don't call it magic, but some of the things in the Bible that God does, it's like, what is that? Like, I know, okay, it's like that's the power of God and everything like that, but when you break it down, you know, separating the water and then turning the water into wine and then creating like this really small portion of food to be able to feed many people. I mean, come on, like realistically, like peaches to peaches, apples to apples, like come on. So at the end of the day, I just hope that one day we can stop judging and we can just start loving human beings for being human beings and being themselves. And also, I can there are documentaries. Sometimes that, like, again, miseducation. People don't want to understand other people, but watch the Boy Scouts documentary. And actually, I'm gonna have an episode soon where I need to list off the names of these, but there's one about a nun that was eliminated from this earth, and she worked at a school, and they found out that the principal person of the school was harming the girls. Yeah, at a cat like, yeah, the nuns and like, yeah, let's just say. And he even started a ring where police officers and other people would come into the office and join him and do the same thing to these girls. And with the Boy Scouts, like, yeah, you already know, like with that one. And then the school that was similar to Paris Hilton's camp. Yeah, I watched that documentary and oh, this woman did an amazing job on it. She was like the details and everything. Yeah, who were the people that were harming some of these kids? Yeah, a lot of people that are more from the right and people who donate and put money in are a lot of them are from the right side of politics. And I don't say right, like I mean the right as in Republican, not that they're actually right. Okay, okay, so just get that right, get that correct. Um, and there's a couple other documentaries where in each one, the people who were harming the children or women were police officers or people within the religious community or highly quote unquote respected individuals or people who are supposed to be our heroes, people we're supposed to look up to. None of them were drag queens. And I feel like people are just trying to put the fear into the drag queens so that they can continue doing what they do. And I've watched a lot of I love documentaries. And it's alarming the pattern that I'm seeing in these documentaries of the harm that the officers and the religious and the Congress people that are getting caught into it, the money that they put into these harmful situations. But anyway, this is the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human, and you're human too. And the LGBTQ community will always have a place in my heart. You are human, you are amazing, and I'm with you.